Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Knock and Talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Angie,
And I'm Professor D.
and today's episode is about nostalgia. So we went into this a little bit in our previous episode, but today we'd like to go a little bit more in depth. So Professor D, you were telling me that you were thinking about the categories of nostalgia.
Yeah, I did do a little categorization here, but just to recap, in the previous episode we put a definition on it, and it isn't too crazy. It's nostalgia, just placing a sentimental value for some kind of event or anything really that was in our past, or what we think was in our past. So going into the categories, we kind of touched upon it in the previous episode. We said that there was this personal nostalgia and public nostalgia, and and then you could further categorize the public nostalgia into a kind of cultural nostalgia or a coincidental slash random nostalgia. Basically, random events that kind of confronted the society or culture at that time. And then for personal nostalgia, you can further break it down into a nostalgia for a mentality that you had. And mentality is kind of broad, but it's basically when I say mentality, I mean just like a state of being that you were in. You might be just that you were younger, right? For example, and also for the other categorization of personal nostalgia, I said was also the same thing, coincidental slash random events. In our personal life that we confront, there's always some kind of random events that are happening that do contribute to our identity. That kind of bring us into a new state of being. But anyways, you would notice that in both public and personal nostalgia, you had the coincidental slash random, and I mean that's kind of obvious that we're always facing something inevitable, something happening, right? But then for cultural in public nostalgia, you had this cultural nostalgia, right, which is really the same thing as mentality, right? It's just the public mentality, I guess you can say. So you can see that these categorizations are very similar to each other. So Angie, what do you think? Do you like this categorization, or do you think you could think there's somewhere you'd want to fix it somewhere? I don't know.
No,
Just I'll just I just this is just some tinkering around I've done.
no, I think that's interesting. I think just there is also another type of nostalgia, as I understand it. I don't know. I don't have this personally, but there's this type of historical nostalgia. So yeah, and my understanding is that it's like a type of nostalgia even for things that you haven't experienced or remember yourself, but you just know it's in the past. You know what I mean?
Ooh, talking about not a nostalgia for something that you can't remember, or not even necessarily taking a part of. I did want to touch upon kind of this. Well, I guess what I think I see as another branch of nostalgia, which is just obscurity, like a perception of obscurity. And I don't know about you, but I am especially pulled towards something that's very obscure, especially if there was some kind of events in my life. And well, I guess really it would. I mean, I would assume it would be common interest among many, because when something is obscure, when something that in our lives, especially that we remember has it's very like its memory of it is very obscure, or not very not very clear. It kind of invokes a curiosity. It kind of invokes this aura of possibility in something in the past, which is not it's just not a very common thing. Because when we think about our past, especially when touching upon clear memories, it's all very set in stone, right? So that's what I like about obscurity. So I mean, there's this thing where it's relative to the clear memories, obscure memories. It's obviously not as well known, right? You don't understand it to the fullest as you do with the clear memories. But
Yeah. Wait. So let
always
me ask you a question.
yeah.
Can you kind of wait? So if it's your own memory, this is kind of a question I have. If it's your own memory, right? How is it obscure? Like, can you give me an example to kind of explain it?
Well, the general pattern is like if you have that memory from like a very long time ago, if it
Oh,
was especially like if you're talking about when memories from like when you were a toddler or something, right? Because you don't remember things as well, right? You're just your brain's not developed at that time. I think you're able to start to get memories. I think really after that toddler era age. But anyways, it's not necessarily being really young. It could also be a time when you were kind of under the influence of something, right? Or really tired and you saw something crazy, or it could have been just some kind of crazy event that you experienced that you don't remember as well, but just because of how crazy it was. Um,
okay, that's interesting. All right, I understand
and
now. So, do
touching
you
about
wait?
touching
So,
upon like traumatic experiences, but not necessarily negative. Okay.
wait,
Anyway,
hold on.
yeah,
Wait,
yeah,
hold
yeah.
on. We'll go into that because that was interesting. But, um, wait. So, you feel particularly nostalgic about these obscure memories, or you feel like they're just very interesting?
Well, I do place like as we said, that the definition would be that it was a sentimental value on the past. That's why I'm kind of iffy about placing sentimental value on those obscure memories, because the really what I feel is the sole reason pulling me in is the fact that they're unknown, right? That I was there, but it's more so unknown what was going on. Um, and it's really less concerned about how I was in that memory, or like what I was doing. It was more of knowing the environment in general, not about me. Does that make sense?
Um,
Or
yeah.
should I elaborate a bit more?
No, I think that makes sense. Wait, but I want to get back to what you were saying. What did you bring in trauma? How did you tie that in?
So, you know how like in traumatic experiences that the person's like, it's very common that a person might just block out their memory, not remember it well, right?
Sure, it's
Because it
like
was a very negative. But I
right.
don't
It's
think it
repressed.
necessarily has to be traumatic experiences. It can be anything just like that's absolutely crazy. It's not necessarily negative, but it's just so like shocking to you that it kind of when you're in a state of shock, you can't quite remember what you experienced. So I think that applies there. It doesn't necessarily have to be negative, as I was saying before. But yeah,
Well,
something like that.
I don't think that's very common.
Well, I didn't say that was common. I'm just saying that's one of the possibilities.
Do you have any that are like that?
I mean, I don't go into I don't have any traumatic or crazy life experiences. So, well, I mean, not to have any, I guess. But yeah, really, my recollection of really more obscure memories were more from when I was like just really young, and sometimes just out of nowhere, you just get a little memory, a little memory glimpse of something from a really long time ago, and you're like just absolutely amazed. I don't know that I am absolutely amazed whenever something like that happens,
Hmm.
because it's like a look into a world that you never knew.
Yes, yes. That's a great way to describe it. That's really interesting. Like, yeah, just a small little thing will remind you of something like that. But
Yeah, like that was a look into a world where you weren't aware of it, that you weren't aware of it.
yeah, isn't that
So
crazy? Like, because I feel like we're different people now than we were. Like, I don't know if this is I don't know if people disagree, but I feel like we're very different. We're obviously very different than how we were when we were like toddlers or some age around there.
right,
But I feel like we're really different people.
yeah. I also I wanted to talk about the fascination of hearing about all these events and stories of people and how people just live regular lives even before we existed, and
Hmm.
it's just so fascinating that all the things that I'm doing now, like going to a day of work, right, or just reading a book, right. This is all happening before. I could even walk, right? Or before I even existed. That's really the locus of the point here. That was just a fascinating point that just always intrigued me, and it's something that just never really leaves. That's something that always just lingering in my mind.
Yeah, I think about that a little bit too. Like, but I think about it more in the opposite way. Like, after we die, it's still going to be like that because it's just hard to. We're not equipped to think about us not existing. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't make
Right?
sense.
We can't comprehend that.
Yeah, so I think about
Um,
that a little bit. It's just so weird to think about.
oh, talking about that, I was. This is interesting. I'm not sure why, but why? Okay, so if you look at space, right? So it's nothing. It doesn't have any matter or energy. Well, just the space part, right? So why is it black? Why is nothingness black?
Because it's the absence of light.
Oh, okay, that's a very simple. That's a
That
very simple answer to the question.
Yeah, it's basically like your eye is not getting any signal, so it just appears black.
Hmm. No wait, but
Does that make sense?
that's hard to comprehend because in all times we've seen black, it's all because there's an object that's not getting light.
Yes. Or yeah, it's an object that looks like.
So how can nothingness have color? It just doesn't.
Well,
I don't know.
it
Okay.
kind of doesn't. You're just not seeing anything. Well, you're seeing the color black, and you're seeing empty space. But the thing is, there's no light. Like in your room, if it's pitch black, like let's just say hypothetically you're in your
Hmm.
room and you
But
close.
I'm surrounded by objects. So like
Right, but you're still
that
seeing nothing.
perception. So I associate black with some kind of objects being present. So when I look into when I see space being completely black, it is a bit I guess startling.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Yes.
Okay, so that was an interesting tangent. Going back, do you have any other thoughts talking about nostalgia?
Well, last episode, yeah, I do, yes, I do. Last episode. Hold on, I'll cut this. Hold on. Actually, yes, I do. Fuck. Yeah, I do. I was trying to think about my own nostalgia. And I remember last episode, I was kind of saying that I don't really feel nostalgic a lot. And I don't know, I was trying to think about it, maybe why, or maybe I do and I just don't recognize it, something like that. Um, so, and well, I'll preface it like this. Recently, I was playing a game that I used to play. Like, I was playing on my DS, this game,
Hmm.
that I never beat as a kid, but I really loved playing as a kid, right? Um, and I recently just beat it. That was fun. It was cool. But while playing it, I kind of like that's kind of like the prime example of kind of nostalgia, I think, or at least one of them. Like you like like a game from your childhood or something, because you enjoy those times a lot. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
But playing it, I didn't really feel nostalgic. I just felt like I really loved this game. I'm glad I'm playing it again. Is that kind of weird?
Wait, so when did the feeling? Okay, so the supposed feeling of uh, so wait. So at any point you reminisced about the past of you playing that game, right?
I don't think so. I just think I really liked playing the game.
Wait,
Like
so then it wasn't really nostalgia because
I'm
you
saying, yeah,
weren't.
I'm saying I didn't really feel nostalgic playing it.
Oh, okay, all right, I misheard you.
That's okay.
Um,
But anyway,
that
what?
wait. So did you have any positive memories of the game when you were playing it back then when you were younger?
That's the thing I do.
Wow, that's I don't know. That's so weird because literally, I think like anyone would say that they would be nostalgic if they played an old game.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say before. But the thing is, I feel like I just really enjoyed it like I did back then. It's not like I feel like because
Hmm.
nostalgia is like a. It's like you're very fond of the old memories, but I'm not thinking about the old memories. I'm thinking about playing the game, right or no?
I don't. No, I can't comprehend that. Like I would directly go to the past memory, and and even go on as if like I was in that previous state.
Right.
If I was like a little kid playing the same game again, not me reminiscing about the past.
Right, that's interesting, right?
I guess
So
interactive nostalgia, I guess.
okay, yeah, I like that one, like a certain activity. But anyway, yeah. So that's just some of my thoughts on it. I was thinking, um, because sometimes I do almost feel nostalgic. I think, or I do feel nostalgic, but it's not very much. I'll explain. So because since our last discussion, right, I was trying to think when do I feel nostalgic, etc. Right, and
Hmm.
sometimes I do think of past relationships I was in, right, and I think um, like I do have fond memories of of some past relationships, but and I do think about those, and sometimes like I caught myself recently being like, oh, you know what, I kind of wish I could go back then, or I wish I could have that now, or something like that, right? And I'm like, wait a sec, this is kind of nostalgia. But taking that thought further, right? I was thinking, you know what, I really don't want to be back then. I really don't want that back um,
So were
because
you? Hold on. Were
no,
you?
no, wait, hold on. Because this is the
Okay.
reason.
Okay.
This is the reason. Because those times in those relationships were happy, but then they ended, and kind of was followed by a period of not happy. So to
Okay.
have those, I necessarily associate those positive ones with the negative ones because I see kind of the whole relationship as a whole. You know what I'm
Right.
talking
So
about?
they're
So,
kind of. Do you feel like they're kind of like neutralized? So there's really nothing to reminisce.
well, I no, I don't feel like they're neutralized, but I feel like I wouldn't want that experience today. So I don't because nostalgia, right, is like here, I have the definition here. So it's a longing. In short, it's a longing for the past, right? I don't long for those times anymore. Like I don't want those again.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Even
But
though
you
I kind
would.
of think of them fondly.
Okay. But you would. So I guess you would not be longing for that specific arrangement, but you would be longing, I guess, for that set of emotions or some kind of similar arrangement in the present.
Yeah, that's true. Similar arrangement is probably
Because
the best way to put it because I'd like it. I like that. Yeah, but to be like, um,
right, because in many ways I feel about it the same way, and that's one of the negative things about nostalgia that a lot of people say is that it's kind of like if you're longing too much for too much on it, it's not really going to help you because it's past, it's gone. You can't get that same exact arrangement.
hmm,
Um, well, you know, I conceptually. I'm sure. I'm sure that you can get some similar, like very similar arrangement somehow.
yeah, but you
But
can't get that exact same feeling. I think I agree.
yeah, right. So um, that's why I think like we still, like, okay, even though nostalgia is more kind of emotion based kind of thought process, we still have to apply our rationality, right?
Hmm.
So, how we value it, how much sentimental value we place on it. We have to, like we have to assess how much is it really worth to me? Am I valuing it just because like it was in the past, or am I valuing it because it was actually making me happy? Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. That might be a flawed kind of categories, but anyways,
No, I like how you said we should bring rationality into it. That's always good.
well, it's best to kind of like fit rationality anywhere, right?
Yeah, I
Anywhere
agree.
it can fit, anywhere it can fit. That's where we apply it. It can be a bit exhausting, but I think that's really the best way we can live our lives. Um, because I think that when we apply our understanding, when we apply like some kind of our understanding to something, we kind of shed light on this huge canvas. Not shed light on a huge canvas. Shed light on a huge painting. Painting's already there, right? It's not a blank canvas. Um, so yeah, shed light on this huge painting, and I don't. That's obviously something that emotion's not gonna cover. I think it's kind of hard coming up with explanation for emotion, obviously, because you never really can explain emotion. Um, but yeah, rationality is just our logical tools given to us, to kind of find out about a world. I don't think it should be something that should be underestimated. Um, but yeah, talking about nostalgia. I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts?
No, I think the rationality is a good way to wrap this up.
All right. Oh, okay. So it's gonna be actual short. This is what we're actually planning on at the beginning.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. All right. So I'll just say like thank you, viewers. Right.
Yeah.
All right. So we hope you enjoyed that, viewers. Thank you for tuning in this episode, and we hope you join us for the next one. Thank you for listening. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, do anything you can.
And follow
Uh,
Friendly Bookshelf. Good night.
Absolutely. Good night.